So yesterday was a an interesting day to say the least, but it was this exchange that happened online that started out as this big drama thing and even got blown up on YouTube by other posters focusing on the drama of the situation. But ultimately, an act of diplomacy led to us getting the a break in the silence from the front office of Destiny 2 on the state of PvP. So we finally got some breakthrough information. To sort of set some new expectations, I think. Anytime the head of Destiny 2 opens his mouth on Twitter, right, he chooses his words carefully because he knows that he's setting expectations with everything that he says. So I thought it was worth making a video going over what happened and wondering what it might mean for the future of Destiny 2 in the PvP arena. So essentially, let me break down what happened. Here you have Joe Blackburn. He is the game director of Destiny 2. Head honcho, guy on top, right? Now what happened was a certain individual who I actually have blocked because they're a bit of they have a reputation for being kind of toxic in the PvP community, happened to run into him in Trials last night. Well, yesterday afternoon, I suppose. They're playing Trials, and they run into Joe, and Joe's got two guys on his team. And they notice that these two guys on their team are card resetters. Okay, so what that means is they're resetting their Trials of Osiris passage to avoid going flawless so they can stay in the non-flawless pool. So there are a lot of reasons someone might do that, but it is generally seen as some nefarious thing in the Destiny community. And personally, I get both sides of the conversation there. So we'll speak on that a little bit. Joe was playing with these two card resetters, and they felt like this was a gotcha moment. Like, aha, we caught him live in 4K, circumventing matchmaking systems. They know that the flawless pool is a bad idea. Even the head of Destiny is avoiding the flawless pool. Yada yada yada. So it was a big drama thing. Now I am never a fan of just taking one thing out of context, ignoring everything else around it, just taking that one little bit out of context and making a broad sweeping generalization based on that supports what I want to believe, right? I feel like that's generally a bad practice. So I looked into the match history, stuff like that, to sort of get a better understanding for what was going on there. And to give you the basic gist, what I could tell just from the outside looking in, not having a conversation with Joe yet, but from the outside looking in, just looking at match history, he hadn't played any Trials yet this weekend. He had not gone flawless yet this weekend. And he very clearly, he just picked up a couple of guys, one from his clan, one not, and went into Trials. And they had limited success. I mean, I think they got like 5 wins on a card or whatever like that. Didn't get flawless, anything like that. It was tough matches in the PC pool. And so nothing nefarious even happened. No bad teams got stomped because they were circumventing systems, nothing like that. So first and foremost, you can tell right off the rip, this didn't look like some nefarious plot to avoid playing tough matches, because he doesn't really play a lot of PvP. You have to understand that Joe came from the raid teams. This is his origin story within Bungie, was that he was a raid designer. So back in D1 and D2, making these raids for us. So that's sort of his legacy. That's where he comes from. And so he leaves the PvP stuff to the PvP guys, the people on the PvP team. So this isn't something that he has direct control or influence over. So I thought it was just kind of a bizarre thing for the PvP community to hold this instance up as sort of the token thing we want to lean back on as evidence that the flawless pool does not work. Now listen, I'm not a big fan of flawless pool. I think there are other ways that we could accomplish the same goal that Bungie wants to accomplish with the flawless pool, but do it in a way that it can't be so easily circumvented. And I'm not going to break all that down. I've got videos talking about that. If you were to scroll back, I think like a month or two, I've got a video. What's it titled? Let me find it here for you. Yeah, it's titled, "You Should Get Adept Weapons Without Going Flawless." That's the title of the video. You should get adept weapons without going flawless. And in that video, I break down what I think would be a better way to achieve the same goal that the flawless pool has, but without all the problems that the flawless pool causes. So, anyways, I'm not a big believer in the flawless pool either, but this isn't the gotcha moment I think that people want it to be. Now, while everybody else is blowing up Twitter with all the drama posts like, caught in 4K, you know, and name and shame, you know, not just Joe, but the two guys he's playing with, I chose diplomacy, right? I made a video real quick, just kind of speaking to the situation, and I just kind of said what I've already said in the video. Like, this doesn't look like anything nefarious. And on top of that, listen, Joe is not resetting his card. And it's a pretty big, I guess, mental leap to assume that not only is he playing by the community's self-imposed fake rules about what you can and can't do as far as card resetting goes, not only is he supposed to play by those rules, but he needs to be policing his friends and making sure that they're not resetting their cards either. So when somebody in his clan says, yeah, I'd love to play Trials, he needs to go to Destiny Trials report, type in their name, look at their match history, and make sure that they are not circumventing the flawless pool before he plays the game. That's a big expectation to put on somebody, that they have to do all that due diligence before they even play a match with their own friends. I think that's silly. And I'm going to be honest, guys. I play with friends, good friends of mine, who love Trials. I play with friends of mine who card reset. You know, I don't reset my card. This is where I fall off the log. I have done it before. I'm not gonna lie to you guys, say I've never reset my card before. I've done it before because we're all trying to feel out what the system looks like. So when it was in its genesis, you know, and we're trying to understand how the system works, I have done it before, but I like getting flawless loot. So I have since not card reset in a long time. Even when I do my Trials carry streams on Mondays, I do it in the flawless pool. Now the guys that I play with, they like to reset their cards when they're doing carries, and you might have opinions about that. But I say, listen, it's not a rule that Bungie laid down. They've never come out and said you are not allowed to do that. You're not allowed to do that. That's against our rules. They've never said that. They have every right to do that if they want to. Now, you might not like it, but it is totally fair game. Okay? I choose not to do it, so when I play with them, they come into the flawless pool with me. So I'm still playing in the flawless pool. But ultimately, I think they're blowing this out of proportion. And finally, we get Joe. He comes in. Does he respond to all the drama posts and the people who are naming and shaming? No. That never gets you anywhere. A polite reminder, that never gets you anywhere, okay? Diplomacy worked. And here, because of diplomacy, we have a thread of responses from the director, the game director of Destiny 2. And this is what he says. He says, hey man, it's certainly new and interesting to be in the spotlight like this, something I'm sure streamers are much more familiar with. I understand that the spot Trials is in can put a bunch of this under a microscope, but the truth is a lot less exciting. He's basically saying, I know that people are coming at this situation with a lot of like scrutiny, like, something nefarious is going on. They got their magnifying glasses out, and he's saying it's really not that interesting. And he just kind of breaks down what happened. He said, you know, I had a clanmate that had been wanting to run Trials with me for a long time. Finally, I had some time this weekend. Was gonna do a full clan run, but someone had to run GMs at the last minute, so I ended up playing with one clanmate and someone new, who were both on console. I drug them into the PC pool to play some games for around 2 hours. Best we got was 5 wins. Then a bunch of us had to go cook dinner. I'm often worried about the lens that can happen when playing with me. And I kind of sympathize here. Like, he's saying, I kind of feel bad because these guys are getting dragged out into the light and named and shamed just because they're playing with me. He says, I'm worried about the lens that can happen when playing with me, especially since I play a lot of randoms, with a lot of randoms on LFG. And this is true. He does this, so does DMG. DMG is out there making posts all the time on LFG to do raids, dungeons, stuff like that, nightfalls. So there's a lot of people that get to play with DMG, play with Joe Blackburn, simply because they're on the LFG sites looking for someone to play with. They end up playing with, you know, the head guys, the top dogs at Bungie, which I think is kind of cool. But there were no goals here to accomplish any shenanigans on my end. Just played a few games, walked away with another piece of the Monkey Hunter set. We still have plenty, and this is the thing that I really want to focus on now. He kind of obviously provides a little context for what happened, and then now he's going to speak to the future. He says, we still have plenty of work to do on the competitive side of PvP. Now, stop right there. That's a big deal. It's a big deal for the game director of Destiny 2 to openly say in public, on Twitter, on record, we've got plenty of work to do on the competitive side of PvP. They're acknowledging it. And that sets expectations, and they know that. So people are going to hold them accountable to that. When they say we've got work that we need to do, people are going to hold them accountable to that. So that's a big deal. We've not even heard them acknowledge the competitive side of PvP really in a long time. So that to me says we've got plans. We are not going to leave the competitive side of PvP to just rot and neglect it. We openly acknowledge we've got work to do there, and we're committed to doing it. So that's a big deal. That's a big deal for especially us PvP enthusiasts. Because I'm excited to continue to be getting crushed and hopefully be getting better with a bunch of y'all next season. More info on the competitive PvP updates that we have planned there coming later this month. Expectations are being set. Not only do they have plans for the competitive side of PvP, but they're going to share those plans with us later this month, November. So, that's kind of a big deal to me. I mean, what started out as a witch hunt, name and shame, turned into an opportunity for the game director to openly acknowledge on Twitter that they've been dropping the ball with competitive PvP. They're committed to making changes. They've got plans, and they're going to share them with us. So, a little diplomacy goes a long way there, I think. I'm pretty excited, honestly. So later this month, at some point, we're going to get some info, probably in a TWAB, something like that, where they're going to lay down their plans for the future of Destiny 2. And that to me is very exciting because obviously I'm a PvP guy and I have been for a long time. And that side of the game has felt long neglected. I mean, all the changes that they have made have not been in the interest of the dedicated PvP player. They've been in the interest of trying to get more people who don't play PvP to play PvP. You got things like the flawless pool. You've got things like skill-based matchmaking. You've got things like nerfing in-air accuracy, things like nerfing sliding. So they've tried to make the really good players less good by taking away their ability to pull off certain maneuvers. And they've tried to make the people that don't play PvP have a better time. And I'm not saying those are innately bad things. I'm all for improving the quality of the PvP experience for casual gamers, totally. But never at the expense of the people who love your game in PvP and are committed to playing lots of PvP and supporting the game on that side of things. So, it's felt like for a long time we just keep getting changes and changes and changes that help the people that play PvP the least amount. Like I said, not a bad thing. But at the expense of implementing changes that would help the people who love PvP. Maybe they're closer to the mid and top of the skill gap. Maybe they're bad at PvP, but they just love it. But those people aren't getting a lot of investment in terms of game modes. I mean, we got Rift, but it like comes and goes. It's barely ever around. We finally got our first brand new map in years, and it was made for Rift. Specifically, plays very poorly everywhere else. It's bad in Rumble, it's bad in Control, it's bad in Mayhem, it's bad everywhere. It's bad in it's in Comp, right? It's bad in all of those places. It only plays well in Rift. It does play well in Rift. I will give them credit where it's due, but it just felt silly that we had to wait for so long to get a brand new map, and it's not even a generic good for everything PvP map. It's some niche thing that's only good when Rift is up, and which isn't even all that popular of a game mode to play unless it's the Iron Banner thing. So it's just felt like long neglect. So this is finally breaking that silence and saying we really want to address things on the competitive side, the other end of the skill gap. We want to make things better for these people, and it's like, whew, it's about time. So I'm not making excuses either. It is about time. I've been very open and honest about that. Like, y'all gotta do something here. You gotta do something because you're losing people. You're dedicated PvPers who are about to dip. Many of them already have. So what do you guys think about this? Give me some insight. Give me some comments here. Let me know what you think about the whole Joe's playing with card resetters business. Or do you think it's overblown and over dramatized? Like I think it is. I think it's a complete over dramatization. It's not the gotcha moment that I think the PvP community wants it to be, but I do think that they're just so desperate for some love that they're going to jump on any opportunity they get. So I certainly understand that too. And what do you think about this final post here about setting expectations for the future? Are you feeling optimistic, cautiously optimistic, or are you like, nah, it's too late? Let me know what you think in the comments below. Thanks for watching the video. I appreciate you. Be warm and well fed, my friends, and I hope to catch you in a new and improved Crucible. Bye-bye.